Big Nick the Quick with me.
Yes, sir.
It's official.
Special edition.
Special edition. It's official. The Bulls hire Billy Donovan. Word on the street, that was one of the top hires or top coaches they were looking for.
I hope so.
That were on the market. Our boy Darnell Mayberry of The Athletic, friend of the program, is gonna hop on and chop it up with us. He's already in the green room per se. He's gonna hop on and talk. We're gonna talk about if this is who AK Karnisovas was looking for, if this is who they wanted. What are they looking to get out of the hire? Is it develop young talent? We got a lot to talk about. Welcome in our boy Darnell Mayberry.
What's up?
The Athletic, my boy.
Looking comfy.
Man, you look dumb cozy.
Yeah, super cozy.
Yeah, I'm just chilling, man. I'm happy to hear this news, man. I'm just this is a turning point for the Bulls franchise, I believe, because it's a level of professionalism now that is clearly pervading this organization. And I'm just excited, man. So when they get back to playing games, I think it's gonna be a thing of beauty for them, really, because they haven't had this level of organization in their organization for a long time. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
Yeah, and just to jump right into it, because you're familiar with the Thunder organization, you're familiar with Donovan. What makes you say that? Just that, because I love that was the first thing that off the top that you came with was he's going to bring some stability to the organization, and that's what the Bulls need.
Yeah, Karnisovas and Eversley talk a lot about alignment, and everybody being on one accord, being on one page. And everything I saw out of Billy Donovan in Oklahoma City, he was able to get his message across while staying on brand and also getting the best out of some young players and some veteran superstars. So, I just think on and off the court, it's a good hire, man. I'm not gonna say it's a home run hire. I'm gonna try not to use that phrase. But I think it's a really, really good hire.
Hey, so I was kind of on the same page with you, man. Just the Bulls really needed somebody who was going to bring in that professionalism and stability, obviously inside of the organization, but even outside of the organization. Obviously, the franchise from the outside looking in isn't always held in the highest regard, inside of league circles and things like that. Do you think that this type of hire is going to kind of go a long way to helping the Bulls with that? It's kind of that perception of the Bulls around the league.
The culture.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, look at some of the quotes like some of his former Florida guys had. Joakim Noah, just talking about how much he respected Billy Donovan.
Right.
Whether it's Chris Paul now or some of the guys back from those Florida days, Corey Brewer, we used to rave about Billy Donovan. Al Horford still raves about him. So, he's got a good track record of getting the most out of guys, regardless of their level of talent. And I think that's one of the things that Bulls fans should probably be most excited about.
Let's talk X's and O's. What type of basketball are we gonna see from the Bulls coming up this year? I know he hasn't coached without a superstar in quite some time. What are we gonna see from him on the floor?
When he took over the job in Oklahoma City, back I think it was 2015, before the 15-16 season, he talked a lot about player movement, ball movement, making the extra pass. So I expect that that's what we'll see with the Bulls. And Arturas Karnisovas has come from Denver talking about he wants to instill sort of that up-tempo, spread the ball around, pass it around, cut, ball movement, player movement style of basketball. So I think we're going to see that with the Bulls as soon as Billy gets some players in here that he can rely on.
Now, wait, expand on that. What do you mean by who he can rely on, and who do you think he's going to look to bring in working with AK and the crew?
Yeah, I think that's going to be the management's decision, but I mean, it's no secret, these guys need some more talent. And, we got some glimpses from certain guys, Laurie, between his first 3 years, Wendell, when he's able to stay on the court, we know what Zach LaVine can do and Kobe White, but, outside of those guys, man, there's a lot of question marks. I'd throw Otto Porter Jr. into that mix as well. but he's got to stay healthy. So,
hey, don't worry, he'll be back. Hey, he'll be back. He's okay.
He's got some incentives.
Yeah, he'll be back.
It's just a lot of question marks about, these guys are so young too. That's the other thing. Like, guys who are young are going to be inconsistent. So it's not necessarily a knock, on guys to say that they haven't been able to be relied on. It's just more to say that these guys are young and learning and growing and trying to find themselves in the league.
Do you think that he's coming in with the ability, or I guess with some say in personnel decisions? Do you think that that's part of the deal when you bring in a guy like Billy Donovan? Or, I mean, from what you know about him?
No, I don't. I don't actually, man, because they just brought in Arturis and Mark Eversley to be the executive vice president of basketball operations, the general manager, and then they hired an assistant general manager and a director of player personnel. So they're making all of these front office moves. That tells me that those guys are going to be in charge. And it seems like those days of coaches getting those front office titles as well, those have dried up. You remember Stan Van Gundy got it in Detroit. Tibbs had it in Minnesota. And I just think those things are drying up. I think maybe that's what Mark Jackson had been waiting for. And coaches aren't really getting that anymore. And I think rightfully so, man. Coaches should coach, and the general managers and the guys who should operate the business should operate the business.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that shit never seems to work out.
Never.
In theory, it sounds like a really good idea. Like, let the guy who's coaching the team bring in the players that he wants to play with and that fit his system and what he wants to run. But, I mean, across all leagues, NFL, NBA, it never seems to work out.
It's two full-time jobs. Like, unless you're Bill Belichick, yeah.
Who probably doesn't sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'll hop in. So I got a question from one of my guys, and for him, does Donovan do Carter and Markkanen front court work for what Billy Donovan is going to run? What's your opinion on that?
I think he can make it work. One of the knocks on Donovan is he's not, which is funny because when Sam Presti hired him in Oklahoma City, he raved about his tactical competence. And over the last 5 years, that's become the biggest criticism of Billy Donovan, is that he's lacking in the as a tactician, that tactical competence. So I kind of disagree with that with a lot of people. I'm different. I still cling to what he did in 2016, leading that Thunder team up to the Western Conference Finals. Remember, they had that 3-1 lead on Golden State, and then they came back and beat the Thunder, and that's what led KD to go to Golden State and all of that. But the Thunder were playing their best ball, I think, going in that playoff run, going up to that Western Conference Finals run in 2016. And at that point, nobody was talking about Billy Donovan's X's and O's because they were playing really good basketball, moving it. The ball was moving, the players were moving. I mean, you saw Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant doing things that they had never done before in their career. So I know Billy Donovan has that in him from seeing it 4 or 5 years ago. So, I think he could do that with the Bulls and Wendell Carter Jr. and Larry Markkanen.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was looking on Twitter, I saw a lot of the Bulls players reacting. I saw Zach LaVine reacting. A couple other guys on Twitter seem to be really excited about the hire. Obviously, after the Jim Boylan experience, anybody else coming in the building, these guys are going to be fired up. But just overall, what is Billy Donovan going to do for those young guys? And just coming off of, that whole situation the last 2 years and just how crazy it was, what's he going to do for them?
Man, I think more than anything is he's going to renew their confidence, renew their spirit. Billy Donovan has a way of uplifting guys and motivating, encouraging guys. And I was just reading a Joakim Noah quote that I think Nick Friedel, who y'all know, who used to be in Chicago, he did a story when Donovan got the job at Oklahoma City, and he talked about how much harder guys want to go and play for a coach that they really respect and ride for. So I just think that's going to be the biggest thing. Markkanen, we know he has talent. We know Wendell's got talent. We know that these guys can play. It's just a matter of getting the most out of them and putting them in the position. So I think Billy Donovan is definitely going to come in and encourage guys to give more or get more out of them than Jim Boylan was able to.
I think that's essential, right? Like that's what we have to have happen. Because I think the big question still is who's the core? Who's going to be the core? Who do we actually want to keep going forward with? Who can we move off? You know what I mean? So I think that's the interesting question. I'm excited. It definitely gives us some positive buzz that we are building off top of, hiring Eversley, hiring Carnesovas. So I love it. I'm excited. Can he bring? I'll leave you with this last question. Can he bring? Can he? I'm not gonna say any names, but can he bring a big time free agent, or does that depend on how we look? I think that's a question that a lot of Bulls fans want to know. Is this guy going to be the guy that develops our young talent, or is he going to be able to develop our young talent and then be able to entice someone to come join it?
Man, I mean, just y'all talk about Jim Boylan. If you hear Billy Donovan in the post game, it's such a night and day difference. just talking to the two men and like what you feel coming from the two men. So I mean, I think if you get a player to sit down in a room with Billy Donovan, and they always talk about Pat Riley throwing the rings on the table. This man has rings. We can say they're in college or whatever, but he's won championships in his career, and he's been to the conference finals in the NBA. Yes, he had horses, but name me a coach that gets there without the horses. So. I do think it's going to be more about what the Bulls do and them turning over a new leaf and changing their culture and putting together some wins, some winning seasons. But if it comes down to getting those guys sitting in the room, I think you can do a lot worse than Billy Donovan making a pitch.
Ain't no doubt about that.
Absolutely. Amen.
Quick, you got anything else for our boy Darnell before we let him go?
Nah, man, I'm just excited. Like you said, man, credibility, professionalism, stability. I'm ready.
Yeah, and maybe Otto might get healthy all of a sudden too.
He might,
you
man.
Never know. All of a sudden, Otto might be 100%.
29 million. We'll find out, man. He's already opted in. He's pre-opted in.
For Boylan, hammies tweaks, but for Donovan, the boy might be in the corner. He might be in the corner of the United Center right now.
There we go.
Yeah, we gotta get healthy, man. I think 20-something games he played since he got here. So
yeah,
he makes a big difference too. He definitely makes a big difference for this team.
He does, no doubt about it. D. Mayberry of The Athletic, Darnell Mayberry. Thank you for joining us, my boy.
All right, guys.
Appreciate it. Talk soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.